Okay, so we have start with a new document. You'll see that there's all these different document types that you can start out with. HTML, CSS, LESS, SCSS, SAS, JavaScript, all the languages basically you could come up with. You can write it in Dreamweaver. There's another tab here that's just the Bootstrap tab. Bootstrap, has anybody ever heard that word? Know what that means?
No, I get it.
Okay.
It's number.
So Bootstrap is just a way to style. It's another simplified coding language for CSS that just kind of like groups a lot of things together, and it's just another version of a program that allows you to code quicker. But we're not going to be doing that. But I just wanted you to know, in case you do go down that path, that you do have that option to code in that language inside Dreamweaver. And then you'll also notice that there's a lot of templates that you can start with. So this is a great place to, if you're like struggling to, when you're trying to lay something out in HTML and you want to see how it's done by someone that's professional and knows exactly what to do. These are all basic templates that can get you started on something. And these have gotten way more complex over time. There's even some email templates in here that are responsive. I think that's kind of an oxymoron, personally, but because not every email client is going to behave the same way, like I said. So we're just going to create a new blank document. You can give it a document title, or you can give it the document title once you're actually in the code itself, but we're just going to call this one exercise 1. Doc type is HTML5. That's what it's always going to be for us, but you'll notice in here all those other types of HTML documents that I was talking about before, the XHTML 1.0 transitional, XHTML 1.0 strict. Honestly, I've never been asked to create an XHTML document, so the only reason I think that you'd even get into that scenario anymore would be if someone previous to you wrote something and you needed to piggyback on what they wrote. So we're going to do HTML5. We don't have a CSS document. We're just doing basic stuff. Another thing that's really, really cool that Dreamweaver did very, very recently is giving you the ability to extract straight out of Photoshop into Dreamweaver, and like it writes pretty decent code, actually. We're not going to do that, but we are going to do that down the road just so you can see that feature. So yeah, great. So you'll notice that in the main view, when you first start up, it gives you the split view option. So basically, anything that happens up in the white is going to be the visual of whatever you're creating in the code below. So it's just broken down into 2 sections. Some people don't like this and just want to stay strictly in the code view. And if you like that better, then you can click this button at the top bar here. It just has a much cleaner environment to work in. The live basically allows you to see what the page would look like in real, like out on a web server. I don't really trust this because I have had issues where what actually happens when I fully deploy something and push it out on a web server does look fine, but in this mode it doesn't look fine. So just something to think about in case you're having an issue that just doesn't make any sense and you can't figure it out. Maybe it's because the preview inside Dreamweaver isn't acting correctly. So we're gonna mainly work in the split view just because I think it's easier and it's nice to see exactly what you're doing translate into something visual. So you'll notice here that Dreamweaver has created the basic elements that I talked about already for us. So it's created the first line with the doc type HTML. The second line is always going to be HTML. The third line is almost always going to be the head tag, and then the meta tag, and then the title tag. This is pretty much the format right here. These 6 lines is pretty much the format that it is across every single HTML document. So this part is really, really important, especially if you're not creating something in Dreamweaver where it automatically creates that set for you. So if you are doing this in a text editor later, just remember that you do have to make sure you have these starting elements. then we have the body tag, and the closing body tag, and the closing HTML tag. All right, so first one that I want to do, so now we have, you'll notice that because we typed exercise 1 in the title before it, it automatically populated inside our code. So we're just going to be dealing with the code for today inside lines 8 and 9. So we're just sticking to body code. So if you hit return after line 8, you'll be inside the body, ready to code. And like I said, we're going to try and stick to that really simple flow of back and forth when you're writing out code. So the first thing that is these are the base layer elements. They're always going to be as far left as they are here. Or, I mean, sometimes they're tabbed over one. People are weird like that. But, so when you write your first line of code, you're going to hit tab just so you can get returned over, and then you can start seeing the lines that you're trying to stay in. So hit tab, that brings you over. Does anyone watch Silicon Valley? Yeah, okay. So there's like a joke in Silicon Valley where the main character like breaks up with a girl purely because she does spaces instead of tabs. And
that's a reason to break up.
Well, for him, yeah, he's OCD. So yes, sometimes you'll deal with people that do that. They'll do 5 spaces instead of 4 spaces instead of a tab. So just keep that in mind if you see someone else's code that's like that. I use tabs, so we're going to be doing tabs in here. So I just think it doesn't. I agree with Richard. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you hit 5 times when you can hit 1 time? But anyway, so tab over, and then the first thing we're going to write is just a simple paragraph tag. So it starts off with the open angled bracket, which is the holding the shift key down on top of the comma. And then you'll notice that Dreamweaver does this wonderful thing for you, which is another reason why I like to work in Dreamweaver. It gives you basically every single HTML attribute or HTML tag that is available for you. And so if you're really lost, you can always just scroll through here until you see the one that you're like, oh yeah, that's it. But you can just type P, and that's the tag that we're going to use, and then you just close that with the closing angle bracket, which is on top of the period. And then we're going to hit return. We're going to tab over, and then we're just going to type some body text. So I'm going to say, this is my first paragraph, period. And then hit return, and then backspace. And then you do the open angle bracket, and then a backslash. And then another great thing about Dreamweaver is it automatically completes whatever you started. So now we have that, we can look up in the top and see what it's created. Just a simple bit of text, nothing special about that, obviously. All right, so now I'm going to take that line on line 10, and I'm just going to copy that. Go at the edge here, and then hit return and paste it again. And do that 3 times. So lines 10, 11, and 12. When I say lines, this is what I'm talking about, just so everybody knows. And anytime someone says, like if you're editing someone else's code or you're trying to figure out an error with like a team of people, they're going to say, hey, look on line 1402, like there's something wrong there. And that's what they're meaning when they're talking about that. And pretty much every single HTML or coding software has that same setup. So if we look up here, we'll notice that that's not what I wanted. Like I coded it in here to break and go down, but that's not what's happening. It's because we need to tell the computer to do that. And the way we do that is by using the BR tag. So it's an open bracket, BR, and then it's the closing bracket. Like I said before, this is not one of the HTML tags that requires a slash. So it's just a simple one. We're going to do that again on line 11. We don't need to do it on line 12 because there's nothing that comes after. And now we'll notice that it formatted it the way that we wanted it to. Everybody cool with that? Paragraph. All right, so the other things we're going to do are the head tag. So we're going to do H1 through H6 just so you can kind of see how it breaks down visually. So we're going to hit return after line 13. And then we're going to start with the open bracket and then H1 and close that off. Then we're going to type heading 1 and then close it off. Then we're going to do H2, the same thing. Heading 2, open bracket, backslash, close it off. H3. H4. H5. H6. Alright. So now you'll see that basically it's done something very, very simple. It's just created it into black letters and it's changed the size of our text in a really simple way. We don't have to create any CSS in order to make this happen, which is why why the folks at the W3 decided how to do this. You'll notice though that like heading 6 is like 8-point font. You know, like when am I ever going to use a H6? You know, the reason why you do this is because like maybe down the line you'll be working with somebody that's creating a CSS document that's created a class that defines H6 in a certain way that looks a certain way. So it's not going to abide by the same rules as this, you know, the way that HTML interprets it normally. So that's why we have the 1 through 6 types of headings. All right. So after line 19, we're going to do a simple link. So the way we do the link is the open bracket and then an A, and then href is defining where that link is going to be. So we're just going to say href. And another thing that's unique to Dreamweaver is that, you know, if you just hit return once it starts helping you out, so like after I go from the A and then I start typing out HR, it knows that that's probably what I want. And if you hit return, it'll complete the line for you and even add in the equal sign and the quotation marks. But if you're not doing that in Dreamweaver, just make sure that you do href equals quotations and then whatever the link is going to be. So it has to be the full link. So you have to start out with HTTP or HTTPS, then colon, backslash, www. We're just going to go with google.com. Then you go outside of the paragraph tag, and you close that off. Oops. And then you type, Google, and then you do the open bracket and the backslash to close it off, and it'll style it in the very, very basic way of blue and an underline. That's how everything just starts out design-wise. And so the other thing we're going to do here is just preview this inside a browser. So I know it's hard to see on this screen, but way down here, I hate that this table's here, but there's this little icon that has a web browser and a little mobile phone on it. If you click on that, you're going to get a bunch of things offered up to you, but basically, preview it in whichever browser you want. And then this is a cool new feature that we're not going to use at the moment. Basically what it does is it creates a QR code that allows you to scan it with your phone, and then it'll come up on your phone. So it's a cool, quick thing that Adobe offers you to quickly, troubleshoot things. So we're going to go with Google Chrome, because I just like Google Chrome. Oh, yes, you have to save your changes, obviously. Right? All right, so so we've created this, then we're just going to hit the link and just watch it go to Google, hopefully. Or not, because we're in the preview mode, right? Forgot about that. Oh, that wasn't that exciting though. Sorry. All right, we'll go back to this. The next thing we're going to do is import an image. So the way we do that is with the tag of the IMG tag. So we're open bracket and then IMG, hit return, and then SRC for the source of where that image lives. So SRC, hit enter, and brings you up to the quotation marks again. And so what we're going to do is just go pick an image from anywhere out on the web. Not anywhere. Let's try and be sure about this. Not big. So I'm going to do cats because who doesn't love cute cat photos? And then if we go to images, just doing a Google search here, and this is adorable. Oh wait, it's too big. I'm going to pick an image that's just like kind of small, so 638 by 640. That's great. We'll go with that. And then just click on View Image instead of this. Who's wearing a bow tie? Oh my god. Oh my god, look at this one. Alright, anyway, sorry. So I'm going to hit View Image, and it's going to bring up that URL up in the top. So I'm just going to copy that URL. Go back to Dreamweaver. Paste that in our quotation marks. This nice big long piece of code. And then what's the last thing we do with an image? Alt tag, right. So we want to make sure we do the alt tag, and luckily it brings us up to the alt tag immediately. So alt, and then we're going to say, for me, whatever yours is, do your thing, but mine's a cute cat and bow tie. So that's my alt tag. So image is one of those tags that doesn't require a close and then closing brackets and then with a slash and IMG. All you have to do for an image is just end it with a slash and then a closing bracket. All right, there it is, our adorable cat inside our HTML doc. Pretty awesome. Notice that the Google is butting right up to it, so I'm just gonna give that a hard return. So after the Google tag on line 20, I'm just gonna, for the link tag, I'm just gonna put that BR in there, make a break. That goes before it. Maybe another one. Okay.
Scroll to the right.
To the right. Anyone else choose an adorable photo? Just me? You got a mustache, yeah. You got tacos.
I thought of a good alt for that.
Yeah? Let's hear it.
I mustache you where you brought your cat. Something like that.
Love it. That's great. I love all those cat memes. It's a guilty pleasure thing. Okay, so now we have an image source, we did that. Okay, so now we're gonna go back up to our paragraph tag and just make the first line bold. So back up at line 10. Is everybody cool with this spot? Everybody fun? Okay. So up at line 10, we're gonna do the strong tag. So open caret and then strong and closing. I'm sorry, bracket. Oh, it's carets. And then before that line breaks, at the end of the paragraph, then we're going to do that closing tag for strong. And then we look back up at our code, and it should have bolded that first line, which it did. And then the next line, we're going to create an emphasized text. So we're going to create this in italics. So on line 11, we're going to do the open bracket and then EM and then closing bracket. And then same thing on the back side of the ending of the paragraph line, backslash, and then we go back up here. We'll see that it's created an italic second line. So the other thing I want to go back to real quick is defining the height and width parameters of your image. So you can define this attribute anywhere right after image. It can come before source or it could come after source. It can come after alt. It doesn't really matter. When the browser interprets this, it's just going to interpret it all at the same time. So before image, I'm going to say so space, and then I'm going to say width. Hit enter. It's going to give us the quotes. And then I'm just going to say 250 to try and reduce the size of this thing. 250. I always type out the pixels, but it is just interpreted as pixels anyway, but it just makes me feel better. So now we've constrained the proportions of our cat just merely by writing code. So instead of having to go and resize your image, you're not going to have any losslessness as long as you reduce the size down as opposed to going bigger. So like if we were going to do this, and I was going to turn this into a 1200 pixel cat, obviously I'm going to get blurry photos. And it's a pretty high res photo actually. Yeah. All right. You'll notice that we can also define the height as well. So right after that width, we're going to type height. Hit return. And I can smush the image by doing 100 pixels. And now I've distorted it. But obviously, you don't want to do that. So the best thing, if you're just trying to scale down the image, is just define one of those parameters, height or width. It doesn't matter. And it will shrink it down to just that size, and it'll automatically reduce the width to whatever it needs to be. Does that make sense? Okay. The next thing we're going to do is do a video. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this, because this is the way that I do it most of the time. Because videos are incredibly large for the most part, they take up a lot of your space on your server. I just host everything with YouTube, honestly, because you're killing two birds with one stone. You're hosting your videos somewhere, and you're also providing a new platform to connect potential users to your website. But I'll also show you how to embed a video if it's on your machine. Or, actually, we don't have that option, but have a video on a source somewhere else on the web. So I'm just going to go to YouTube. Try not to be political here. It's hard though. I'm going to go with this.
By now, you've probably watched
So inside YouTube, you have these abilities to share it, or you want to go with share, and then go with the embed option instead of the share. And then that's just going to give us a nice string of code that we can just copy and paste. So copy that. Go back to Dreamweaver. Hit that tab over. Paste. So on a PC, it's the Apple button and C, and then Apple button and V, or that's Command is what the Apple button is. Then you'll notice that it's just dropped it right there on our page. Oh, forgot to break tag. Little break tag after that image. Okay. Pretty nice, pretty easy. And it's what YouTube is doing is it's creating an iframe, which isn't something that we've necessarily talked about yet, but an iframe is just essentially a way to place a piece of another website on your site in whatever parameter of a box that you decide on. In this particular version, we have a width of 560 and a height of 315. You can modify these, so you can't necessarily stretch it out because it's a video and it just collapses into whatever format it needs to be in. But it will make the browsing, the actual width of the whole iframe larger. So you have that ability, which is cool. You'll notice the same setup that we have for images, just SRC and then where the video happens to live at. I'm going to copy that. And then the frame border is 0, just basically means that there's no border around the image. We can change that to 10 or 20, and it's going to create this little white border around everything. And allow full screen is just basically saying, it allows people to have the ability to go full screen with it.
By now, you've probably watched Rogue One a few.
But you'll notice that, after I scaled the whole thing out to this width, it just creates that extra padding on the left and right of the video, because this video is, it's meant to be viewed at 560 pixels wide. So you can't actually change that, but you can just change the box it lives in. So the way that we do this without having YouTube's assistance is just to do a video. So you do an open bracket and then video. The same thing that we've done before, do SRC for the source. I don't really think this is going to work, but I'm going to try and paste this in here. And then just closing off that video. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. All right, so obviously this source isn't going to work, unfortunately, because it's inside of YouTube's database. They don't want to give that up, understandably. So if we do source and then hit return, it gives us the ability to go browse our machine. Unfortunately, I don't think we have any video, so this isn't really that helpful. But essentially, you browse and find. Okay, no, hold on. Is there a video on here? All right, well, apologize, there's no video in here. But essentially it works the same way that an image works. You just define where the source is, and we would just browse and find that particular file. If we were on a server, we just do the copying, the pasting of the URL itself. And then the same parameters we could add in width and height. You can do a lot of things with video that we're not really going to touch right now. But, just all I really want you to be able to do is embed a YouTube video for now.
Can you go to the right?
Yeah. Farther. That's it. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is put a line, a horizontal rule across the page, and I'm just going to do that right after the paragraph. So after line 13, I'm going to hit return and do open bracket and an HR and a closing bracket. This is another one of those that doesn't require a closing tag. And then you just get this nice line that goes all the way across the page. There's no styling to it. It's just a simple black line.
My video's not working.
Take out that. Alrighty. So we have a horizontal roll. The next thing I want to do is do a list of items. So after the H6 here on line 20, we'll hit return, and we'll start creating a simple list. So we have starting tag, or starting bracket, opening bracket, and then do an unordered list first. So UL stands for unordered list. The closing bracket, hit return, you tab over, and then an open bracket, and the LI for the first list item, and the closing bracket. So we'll just do something simple here, so like item 1, and then close that off, closing bracket and a backslash. Same thing, we'll just repeat this 3 times, LI, list item, close it off, item 2. Open bracket, close it off, item 3. And then we'll hit return, then backspace to get back to the line we were on before. And then just close that off, and you get that a nice simple list that just has dots. And then do the same thing with an ordered list, so it's going to provide 1, 2, 3 options instead of just the dots. So instead of a UL, we're going to do the OL. So an open bracket, OL, closing bracket, hit return, tab over, do the list items, close it off. Backspace back over and close off the OL. So now we have a nice little 1, 2, 3 kind of item list. All right. So is everyone pretty much comfortable with that basic setup that we've done here? Just the really simple stuff. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into just doing the assignment together, just so everyone is comfortable with it, and then we'll just set you loose, I guess. All right, so we're going to just close this document out. We don't need it anymore. We're going to create a new one. Sorry, you all right? I just delete something.
Oh, no. No, it's just getting used to 3D or doing things automatically.
Typing like.
Yeah. Sometimes it'll like try and close a tag for you automatically, and like sometimes you start typing and it just like completes the whole thing.
Well, I always do the 2 pairs and then back, because they're right next to each other, and then I go back and type what I want in the middle, and it clearly doesn't like that.
Yeah, it doesn't like that. It likes you to like go like under writing.
Is there a way to turn off its autocomplete?
I think the purpose.
I don't know. I've never wanted that. So I've never tried. I can look into it. I'm not sure though.
I'm so used to putting the slash and then having to type it. It's like every time
Like type out the closing tag.
like do slash li and then I do slash, then it ends up being slash li close
LL.
caret li close caret.
Yeah. Yes. That's why Dreamweaver is not necessarily the coding program that everyone likes to use. So, but I love it personally because I can just hit return a bunch of times. So we're gonna create a new document here. Go to File New. And so just create the assignment. Just do assignment 3 as the title. Doc type's HTML5, so we're going to create that. Cool. I gotta get this other thing out so I know what to do. Alright, so we're going to go back to our image here. creating. Alright, so what do we have here? We have the image, we got the headlines, we got the HR tags, basically everything that we just did, but like in an actual format. So we're going to start off with creating that image. So inside the body tag on line 8, state return. And tab over. Starting with the open bracket, IMG, space, SRC for the source of that image. And then we're going to go out on the web and find an image. Do something different because I've already done lasagna. Does anybody else use budget bites?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Budget bites, not only are they cheap, they're amazingly delicious. So this is where I get all my recipes. So let's do, yeah, black bean taquitos. It's delicious. All right, so I want to capture this image. So I'm going to inspect the element here. So if you just right click or you hit control click in the browser, you get this, as long as you're in Chrome, you get this little element here. So if I look up in the code up here, I can see that this is where that image lives at. So I can just copy this line right here. Double clicking, hit Command C.
How did you get to that?
This part or the
Yeah, that.
so if you just close this again. So if you just hover over the photo and then you right click or you hit control click, it'll bring up this, and then inspect is the thing we want to choose. Then it brings up these boxes, and on the right is just the straight code, and then below that's all the CSS. So then I'm just gonna, as you hover over things, it'll hover over the element that it's actually touching. And then here we can see that as we hover over this part of it, it brings up the image for that link as well. So I just want that pathway essentially. Copying that, go back to Dreamweaver. And then inside that source tag, I'm going to hit space or hit paste. I think it's going to be enormous. And then of course the alt tag, ALT equals black bean taquitos. Then we close this off with just that a backslash or a forward slash and a closing caret, as this is one of those that doesn't need the entire closing tag. And I was right, it's enormous. So I just want to stick to like a width for this whole document. So we're going to do one little bit of no, it's not CSS, but it's getting close to starting to style things with the style tag. This is one of those that you can't, with the body tag, it's a little bit special. It doesn't allow you to just go and change the width of the whole body without first creating the style attribute. So inside that body tag, I'm just going to hit space, and we're going to say type style. Hit enter. And then I'm going to define the width by width, return, do the colon, and then I want to define the whole width of the page to be 720. So that should basically give us a platform to build with inside of, so a box that basically is always going to be 720 pixels wide, but this image is not going to play by those rules because its source is telling it to blow it up to this size. So I just want to reduce that image size down, so like I said, anywhere before or anywhere after the opening HTML element image tag. So it can be anywhere. I'm just going to put it here after the link and do width of 720. That just keeps it nice inside our box that we're playing in. Okay, so we'll go back to my document here. All right, so after that I have this this major headline. And it's going to be black bean taquitos. So someone tell me what that tag is going to be.
H1.
H1, right. So in the same line as the image, we're going to do H1. Close that off. Let's hit black bean taquitos. Close that H1. All right. I don't know if that's spelled right. And so after that, we're going to define a few things. We're going to define the prep time, cook time, basically any of the things that this recipe happens to give us already. So we're going to do two different things. We're going to do bold text and we're going to do italic text right next to each other. Oh man, I believe my so dumb. Oh, creamy black beans. All right, so prep time I got 10 minutes, cook time 20 minutes, total time 30 minutes. So after this, we're going to hit return, and then we're just going to say, we're going to do a paragraph tag. And then we're just going to define that first line as, how do we make strong or bold text?
B.
Strong, yes, strong. I even accidentally said it. So hit return after the P, and then just tab over. We're going to do a strong tag.
Will you take points off if I use B?
No.
I have a dumb question. What is the point of the paragraph one? I just don't get it.
So all it's really doing is essentially just creating a box that's only going to be text.
Okay.
Well, it's not entirely true, but yeah, it could be other things inside there, but yeah, the main reason we do it is just to keep things organized. Especially if we were going to be styling this whole paragraph in a certain way, we'd like.
So it's more for the stuff at the bottom than this stuff at the top. Like organize your HTML. Like you can't see it, but I can do it that way.
What's what?
Never mind.
No, please.
Well, like okay, so you're obviously doing the paragraph tag and then you're tabbing, so everything within that paragraph will be at a different.
Line, right?
Yeah. So it looks like it's more for the coding than it is for the actual final appearance of the website. More for keeping it organized.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, there's no actual visual representation. If that's what is that what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you took them out, what would it do? Besides make you disorganized.
It really becomes more of a issue when you get into CSS
Gotcha.
because this is just a way that we can style an entire paragraph all at once.
Have you clicked into the top since you put the image in?
I think I'm pretty confident that I'm not
Oh, yeah, there's no caret vision sources.
Do not apologize. It's still not
It's
working.
still not working? Just you see.
Okay. Yeah. another thing that yeah. Right.
Okay, let's go.
Is it correct?
Go, yay. Thank you. It doesn't always automatically update.
Yeah. Everybody, here's the thing about Dreamweaver. Sorry. Sometimes when you're writing the code, it just like some of them on some machines just are not fast enough to keep up. I don't know what it is. Mine always works perfectly up there, but sometimes you just have to click on the actual design part of the page in order to get it to populate. If it's not
Exciting. Look at how cheap everything is.
It just one like put
Oh, okay. So it's like all recipes.
yeah.
Stop that.
I like it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You guys don't have a double click mouse, two click mouse.
Kind of do.
Is it?
Yeah, it's sensitive.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good.
Except it gets stuck, and that's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Alrighty, so we're gonna do this title. Oh, we did that. Okay. Sorry, what were we doing? Okay, so the prep time. Alright, so now we're inside that P tag once again, line 12. For me, it might be a little bit different for you. We're going to type prep time. And then a colon. And then a open bracket and a backslash to close that off. And then we do space. And then we're going to do italics. So how do we do italics? EM, right? So just the open bracket and then EM closing bracket. And then we're going to say whatever the prep time was, which I think was 10 minutes. We're going to close that EM tag. Should get something like this. So we have bold text next to emphasized text. And then how do I get return into the next line? Breaking point, a BR tag. So I'm just going to say open caret BR, closing bracket, and then hit return and go down to the next line. And then we essentially could just copy this whole line, but since it's good to start getting the muscle memory for you, just type it out again, strong, closing bracket, cook time. Colon, close that off. Do space. EM. This was 20 minutes. Close that emphasize tag off. Another BR tag to do another line break. Total time. That's the last thing we're going to do. So, strong. Total time. Hey, buddy. Yeah. Then we're going to do the emphasize tag. That's 30 minutes. Alright, GR, line break, and then we're just going to close the whole paragraph off with the open caret and the slash down on line 15. Julie's in trouble. Alright. So, another thing you might want to do just to kind of keep things separate and keep your code a little bit cleaner, at least in the beginning here, it's just to give yourself a little bit more space between things. So that's why I have the code written out in a PDF document just like this, so everything has a lot more space to it. You can do that if you want right now, just to kind of keep things separate and clean. It doesn't change anything visually when you add returns into your code. Oh, another thing that the P tag does. The P tag also creates spacing automatically, which is just one of the bonus reasons why you would use P tags. You wouldn't have to incorporate an extra BR in here in order to get your vertical spacing between the title. So now we're going to do just a line across. So when you go and pick your recipe, just basically everything that it offers up for you, like write all those things out. So if it has prep time, cook time, total time, costs, whatever, those types of things, just put them all underneath inside that paragraph. Go. But I'm just going to stop at 3. Give yourself a little bit more space here. What's the next thing? Yeah, so how do we create a line across the page? HR, right? Horizontal.
Oh, I have a question about the HR.
Yeah.
Can you talk with mine like a width like 70% of the page or something?
Yeah, so because we've already created the 720 pixel width for the style of the entire body, we don't have to add any style attributes to the HR itself. It'll just stop.
Yeah, no, but if you wanted like tiny bit in,
If you wanted a tiny bit in from the
like
720.
90%, yeah.
Yeah. So you could do width in percentages as well, or you could define it in the pixel width the same way that you would style the body tag. So we're going to do the HR, and then we're going to give it a little bit of style. We can do style, and then we can define the width of it there as 710. Close that off. Just make it 10 pixels smaller or shorter. Or we could define that in a percentage value, so like say 50%. Makes it itty bitty in the middle. next thing we want to do is so another headline, but not as big as the first headline. How do we do that? H2, correct. So open bracket H2, closing bracket, say ingredients. Close that off. So now we have a bunch of ingredients. And let's go back to So in order to do this kind of quickly, instead of having to type out everything, we're just going to copy all that text. And after the H2 tag, we hit return, and then paste this in. So we have it in there now, but it's not, it's not styled the proper way. So we're going to do an unordered list for the ingredients, since we don't need to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not going in a row, or we're not going in a certain order. So how do I do an unordered list? UL, right? So an open brackets, and then UL, closing bracket, hit return, tab over, and then start off with the first list item, so LI. Alright. Tab these over. Just do that to the whole, all those, each individual list item. Tab them over and put LI before them. Make sure you close that bracket, or close that list item off with a slash. That all typed out. I'm just going to close off that unordered list. There we go. You'll notice that all the headings do the same thing that paragraphs do. They create vertical spacing between them, and so does the HR tag. So everything by default has a little bit of spacing, vertical padding already included based on just the standard that HTML interprets. Next thing was the steps, I believe, directions. Okay. I'm going to do just use the H3 tag just to make it a slightly smaller headline, just because. So H3, and then we're going to type directions. Close that off. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to copy from before, so I don't have to do it, type all that stuff out. Correct. So the ordered list is done with which tag? OL, right? So OL, close that off. Tab over, paste, and do the same thing. Oh crap. That's not easy to understand. break each one of these down into steps. So same deal, just with the list above, list items. I'm just going to do them after each one of these lines. Then we're going to close that whole thing off. And hit backspace to get back over to the closing of the OL. Should now have a list in order. Oh. Is everybody okay?
Yeah, that's part of it.
So the last thing we're going to do, or second to last thing, third to last thing, is go out and grab a YouTube video. So it doesn't have to be necessarily a video that's attached to this particular recipe, but I'm just going to go to YouTube and type black bean taquitos, and surely someone's created a video for that. We're going to do this one. Someone needs to contact Easy Vegan Life people. Send a buddy logo. That's terrible. Alright, hit share and then embed. Just copy that embed code. Paste it after that ordered list. I'm going to change the height and width just to fill this space. So inside that code I grabbed from YouTube, I'm just going to change the width to 720. And then I'm just going to adjust the height as I see fit. Basically, if I hit play, I can see where the spacing, this big gap it gives. I'm going to just adjust this until that gap goes away. Close. A little less than that. Okay. So now as the video plays, it does take up the full width of the iframe. Makes it look a little bit nicer. And the last thing we're going to do is put in that text at the bottom that has the link. So we're going to do a strong tag again, and then say to learn more about this recipe, visit, and then whatever URL or that you got your recipe from, just put that in here. So we're going to start off with the A tag, the link, so A, and href to define where the link is, hit return. Go out and get that recipe.
I have a question.
Yeah.
My video stuff, like, I can't, like, pause it.
Mine's the same. It's not letting me click anything else.
Well, it could be because. Fascinating.
Again.
I locked it up. Does anybody else lock up?
Yeah,
When
Yeah,
I
yeah.
broke something. I think I figured out how to make it an autocomplete though. Sometimes there's no color. I have no idea what it did. I tried to save it so I could preview it. It's saving something. It's not.
Who else locked up?
Fine.
Great.
I can't. I don't know what. I don't know what happened. It's been playing this video on the.
Apparently, there's some videos that it just doesn't like.
Now I know how to make preview mushroom chicken.
There you go.
I saved it to a degree, so some of it will be saved.
Just another reason to save often. I'm surprised.
I agree.
What happens if you just take the link back out?
When people are locked up.
Well, I locked up as well.
It's so weird. It's like, yeah, this is a very basic thing that everybody does. Makes sense why they don't lock up. Anyway, so the last thing we're gonna do was the link. So okay, so right here in the middle, href. This. Copy that. Paste it in. Close that off. Oh. type, is it Budget Bytes? Alright. Then close that A tag off. So now we have a strong link too, which is kind of weird to see. And then just to give a little bit more spacing here at the bottom, I'm just going to throw in a bunch of BR tags at the very end. Just do a little bit of padding here at the very end. And I'm also going to do one in between the video and that last line. Looks like I'm gonna need two of those. All right. So now I'm going to save this and preview it in a browser. Make sure everything works. Alright. Does anyone have any questions or concerns about being able to do this assignment?
So when you inspected the video and copied that, and based it into, I guess I'm not, when I inspected that, what part of that am I supposed to be getting for the video?
For the video, we're just doing the straight share embed that YouTube offers. So we just click on any video that you want. And then share. And go to embed.
Using Notepad++.
Embed.
Happens here.
Anybody else? Okay. So since we have a little bit more time here, I just want to go over a few additional HTML tags that we haven't talked about. And just mainly the div is the one I want to talk about.
So if we're completely locked up, what should
The only option is to go down to here and hold and click on our controller. Yeah, it is painful. So we haven't really gotten to CSS yet, and that's okay. We're gonna get into that next class. It's CSS. Does everybody know what that word means?
Cascading style sheet.
That's right, Rebecca's got it. Okay, so it's
My favorite student yet.
you know all the terms? Yeah, sure. Yeah, so CSS is cascading style sheets, and basically what a cascading style sheet is just a different type of code that modifies all the HTML code in visual ways only. So we're not going to do a whole lot of CSS in the beginning. We're just going to kind of learn it. But there's basically endless possibilities once you learn CSS.
Okay, it didn't.
So after all these BR tags here at the very end, let's just try out the div tag. And this is one of those that it's not going to have, it has no basic styling to begin with, so it's just one of those elements that you're using to define a block of code, a block of information. So the div tag is just div, close that off, and return. And so I'm just going to take like a whole bunch of my code. I'm going to take everything from line 50 up to line 9. I'm going to copy all that. And I'm going to paste it inside this div. Now, the main reason we use divs and anything basically that's not an email is because we want to stylize a whole section of our site. So, like, let's say instead of the 720 pixel width, I want to define this area to be smaller. So I'm going to say for this div, I'm going to do the style tag, the style attribute, and then I'm going to say width 400 pixels. Now if we go back up here, well, the image part is the part, like, once again, we'd have to define the image values to be at 450 or whatever we decided in the video as well. But you'll notice that all the text got shut down into just that 450 width. And we only had to define it in one space, just like we only had to define the width of the total document in the body style. So does that make sense? Why would you use a div, basically, is just to stylize a big chunk of code all at once. Okay. So there's another thing that we do that's just like that, which is the span tag, which is it's used more often for when you're inside a div or you're inside a paragraph or you're just kind of freewheeling. So after the div tag, I'm going to do a span tag. I'm going to show you the same basic thing. So span, and I'm going to define a width again. Well, actually I'm going to define a bit of text here. So this is, we're dealing with CSS now for color, but we're not going to dive into that. But I'm just going to close this span tag off, and then basically anything I type inside of here is going to change to that slightly grayer color. Should probably do that with color. inside that span tag, I'm going to say. So just stylizes basically that whole line of text all at once, as opposed to, maybe I'm inside a paragraph and I want to style a certain section or a certain line inside that paragraph to be a different color. That's why we would use something like a span tag. So as you probably, we haven't really got into a whole lot of modifications of style yet, but does the concept that basically if I were to modify this top level tag, it's going to modify everything that's contained inside its brackets. Okay, so that just works in basically like a bunch of boxes all contained inside of each other. So if I put another span tag inside that paragraph tag that had a different style, and then let's say I did a strong tag inside that span tag, all these things are going to get modified, but one at a time. So it goes inward, it doesn't go outward. So if I style like a span tag inside a paragraph tag, I'll just show this. Makes more sense. Let's see. All right, so I'm inside this paragraph at the top, and then I want to do I'm just going to make this part just this EM blue. So I'm going to go inside there and define another span, just that span style that I created. So just the concept that I want you to understand here is that it goes inward. So one style that's created for the outside, and then the next style, and the next style, and the next. Does that make sense? Just okay. All right. So the last thing that we're going to cover here is tables, because that's what we're going to get into for our first big major project. It's not necessary to complete this assignment, but since we have the time, we might as well go over it. All right. Let me get rid of all this so we can clean this up. It's not so. So, understanding the fact that all these HTML elements are boxes inside of boxes inside of boxes is going to help you grasp the concepts of tables as well, because they work under the same principle. So, to start off a table, we're just going to define table. So, table, it just says, hey, I'm a table. Close that off. Then I'm going to need some space here in the middle for the other elements inside the table. So I'm going to say, first it starts off with a row and then a cell inside that row. So if I say tr, that defines the row. Close that off. Tab over. td, there's a cell inside that row. I'm going to put my content inside the cell. It's the only place it can live. All right, so if we look at this visually, it's not going to be all that exciting. Nothing's changed. It's just a piece of text, right? But if we start defining more rows inside that cell, or inside that table, or we define multiple cells inside this row, so I'm just going to copy this, paste it 3 times. You'll notice that it automatically creates 3 columns. And then if I were to take all this row, I we have like a simple grid that it's probably easier with an image. So where cell padding and cell spacing comes in is when we're doing tables. So if I go in here and after the table I say cell padding, and I say 10, and then I also want a border so we can see what the hell's going on. Border. Alright, so now we kind of get a better visual about what's happening here. But so if I define the cell padding as 100, so it's really clear. It's the cell padding that basically comes from within. So whatever the cell is, this is the border of the cell right here. Any of the content that's inside that cell, if you define the cell padding, it's gonna push the content away from the border. Now if we do cell spacing, that's just slightly different. Equals. You guys see the difference? Cell padding and cell spacing. This blue line here is defining the whole table itself. And then that cell spacing of 100 pixels is saying be 100 pixels away from not only the border of the table, but also from each other. And then we can define all that visual layout in one section of our code instead of having to do it for every single row or every single cell. So this is how we're going to make emails. So it's going to be really tedious, unfortunately, but that's why we stopped doing tables for everything. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've gone over tonight? I feel like this is like, sometimes this is kind of like your brain is mush after this, and that's okay. So all I'm asking you for your assignment is to just recreate this. So if you go out to, oh yeah, I want to show you. Out in the class 3 folder, so if we're going to course content, class 3. The presentation that was from before is up there. These are just basically all of the HTML tag, or the top 40 HTML tags for this one that we're going to be dealing with on a regular basis, are all inside this document, which is kind of a nice quick reference. And then this one has every single one that exists. And then there's these little elements here that say not supported in HTML5. That's because they were pulled from HTML 4.0, but they haven't been carried over into HTML5 because there's a better way of doing it now. And then I think I have this. The two things that kind of help you with the guiding of the exact formatting of what I'm looking for is just the image here at the very bottom, which just says assignment 3 example image, and then assignment 3 example code is all the code that you need. So it's not going to benefit you in any way if you just copy and paste this into Dreamweaver, although that would work. The whole point of the fact that we're going to be hard coding everything is that you get the muscle memory down so that when you go to take the test or whatever, like you can remember this stuff. Our first quiz is basically a 30-minute time frame to complete a web page. So you need to be able to do this quickly farther down the line. So all I'm saying is, if you copy and paste, I'll probably know because I wrote this, but also it just doesn't do you any good. If you want to continue on with other things in regards to formatting with HTML, I have just some of the ones that I think are important from the W3 schools out here. I would recommend that you go through these because it's only going to benefit you kind of repeating what we did tonight in simple steps. So that's there as well.
Do we have to do the lasagna, or can we do like
Anything.
an identical template but with different recipes?
Yeah, so all I'm asking is that you stick to this formatting exactly the way it is here. So what I'm going to be grading on basically is you basically lose a point every time there's an error. So one of the things that can help you out in Dreamweaver to make sure you don't create any errors is this listing of all the numbers in the left column. So if I go and type something that doesn't make any sense, like do this. That wasn't a great example. Wow. Also not a great example. Trying to make me give an error here.
Well, it turns everything red.
Right. So if you see it in the corner, basically these line items will become red if there's an error on that particular line of code. If you hover over it, it'll kind of give you a definition of what's wrong. Why is it not getting it? There it is. Okay, I just had to say. So if I hover over this, it says tag must be paired missing tr table start tag matched failed. Not super helpful, but it does refer back to line 22 where there's an error. And so if I just go back in here and I create that slash, that'll solve that error. Then I hover over it again. It says same sort of thing, but I know that I'm missing a table tag because I just deleted it. And if I hit save, it goes away. No errors. Got the document. So just before you submit the assignment, just make sure that you go through here and there's no red marks. And then just zip the HTML file because Blackboard doesn't like you submitting an HTML file. I think you're trying to hack it or something. I don't know. Not that anyone would want to hack Blackboard. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions about the assignments? It's all pretty straightforward, I think.
Wait, sorry, how do we upload it?
Let me just make this live.
Just paste the link?
The link's not going to work because it's only on your machine. So just save the file out of Dreamweaver. File save as, or just save. And then just call it assignment 3. And then just put your name before it. So just initial and then last name. Save that. On Blackboard. You just browse your computer, make sure you have that file zipped, which I don't.
Oh, okay. That's
And then, yeah. And then
zip
just,
it so it won't be an HTML.
Right, so it won't be an issue. And then in the comments, just put the URL of the recipe that you chose. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
How did you get everything like centered and aligned on your example
yeah, so I defined something, sorry. I defined something that's not, we didn't go over. But basically in the body style that we defined up here in the width, we can just say, so every time you do a style element, you just do a semicolon after it, and then you can do another style element. So our attribute, so I'm going to say margin and then auto, and basically margin auto just forces everything in the middle.
If you look at his HTML example that he posted for the class materials
Right.
today, it
It's-
has that property on the body file.
So this isn't absolutely necessary to do, but I just did it because I like things to be in the middle of the page. You know, it's easier. We're starting, down to styling that we don't need to cover right this minute.
So really, at a basic level, it needs to look like the sample PDF.
Sample image, yeah. So, your end result should just be this. Does this seem doable after tonight?
Go back to the book real quick.
What's that?
Can you go back to the Dreamweaver real quick? Okay. Okay. So the quote goes around the entirety of the body style. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so
Okay.
anything that's defined, this is pretty much a global thing. Anything after an equals, and then quotation, anything inside that quotation is going to be the value.
Gotcha.
Anybody else? All right. Any further questions that you want to ask outside of class? Please do so, and have a good night. Email me as always if you have issues. Oh, I wanted to take a quick poll really quick. I'm trying to decide what night to do, like, my office hours essentially, which are going to be online. And this is going to be a Google Hangout, and I'll send a link to everybody. But what night is best? Like, would it be best that I do this on a Monday night so that if you had issues with homework the night before or for to do the next day, that I'm on there to answer those kind of questions? If you're a procrastinator like I am, you probably waited till Monday or Sunday to do it. Or I can basically do any night except for Wednesdays. So does anyone have any preference? Otherwise, I'm just going to do Mondays.
That's fine with me.
Okay. So it's going to be Mondays from 6:30 to 8:30. And I'll send you an email and a link for whether people will hang out with you.
So how are we supposed to save this when we're finished?
So just save it as an HTML file. I mean, it's already going to be an HTML file. So once you hit save inside of Dreamweaver, wherever it lives is great.